All right, thanks, Ellen. It's 6:55, 75 degrees. It's time for my final thought. Now, yesterday, Mayor Muriel Bowser wrote a letter to President Trump asking for him to reimburse the city's emergency planning and security fund for the unpaid costs incurred for his 2017 inauguration, as well as last week's 4th of July celebration on the National Mall. Now, as it stands, the agency's funds will be depleted by the end of the year with an estimated $6 million deficit. Now, I never thought I'd see a mayor ask a president to run me my money, but here we are. The White House is about to start dodging calls from collection agencies, and the people that grant clearances have incurred more debt than the people they turned down for clearances. The letter itself, while unprecedented, was professional, clear, and detailed. Now, I hope it results in some form of repayment. Taxpayers in a city with no representation in Congress shouldn't have to foot the bill for federal celebrations. Furthermore, the men and women tasked with providing security for these events shouldn't be at risk of not getting paid to work future events. The government shutdown hit this area hard enough. This would potentially add further insult to injury. Maybe Mayor Bowser should propose a payment plan in the next letter if nothing happens from this one. Treat it like a student loan. Or the federal government can just pay back the money. Maybe order one less jet from Lockheed Martin or General Dynamics. That should just about cover it. Now, I'm not an expert on budgets, as my bank account can attest to. That said, there is no reason why D.C. should be stuck with this bill. Trump is basically that friend who went to dinner with everybody, ordered steak and lobster, then wants to split the bill equally. Nah, bruh, I ordered a salad and I didn't even drink. You paying for your fair share of this, but I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that to happen. We're going to continue this conversation online. You guys have a beautiful Thursday. And one more birthday shout out for the Howard Bernstein. Happy birthday, man.
Thanks, Reese.